Hey Aquarius, what's going on? We are here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is Five of Swords. I'm also looking at Four of Pentacles. And we have Three of Cups. With Five of Swords and Four of Pentacles, it feels like sort of digging your heels in a bit. All of the energy is looking towards the Three of Cups. So this can be maybe wanting to, if you feel like you're on a side of something, this can be a feeling of reinforcing that. With the Five of Swords, usually there's not an openness necessarily to persuasion. And with that Four of Pentacles, it feels like doubling down with that. So you may very much be feeling this way and not feeling open to the Three of Cups. Now, what Three of Cups is usually is this can be somebody wanting to connect with you. This can be somewhere where you're being invited to. It can be something that would involve you socializing, hanging out, something like that. Three of Cups can also be this sentiment of somebody coming around and like wanting things to be good with you guys, like, hey, come here with me, or can we do this together? And this can be a feeling of like, I'm feeling a type of way about things, so no, I don't want to, or like, I don't want to join the group, I don't want to be part of the group. It can be something like that going on here. If this is not you, this can be somebody feeling this way towards you. Why would they be feeling like this? There's definitely a reason behind it when we have Five of Swords. Something has happened. We'll see if we can get anything. This can also be an energy that feels kind of cautious, but I feel it being a little bit more than that. The only thing that immediately comes to mind is a feeling of being in a situation with someone where maybe one of the parties, like something happened with them that somebody felt hurt about, or somebody felt, whoever is the Five of Swords, they could have felt hurt by something, they could have felt a type of way about something. And now this can be a notion of reconnecting here that's happening, of like, let's get together again, but this person can be feeling like, well, I don't want the same thing to happen, or like, do I need to be on guard? And so if this is you, you can be looking at somebody that has like very innocent intentions here with the Three of Cups of like, hey, come on, join the fun. And if you're the Five of Swords, you can be in a position where you're like, I don't know about that. I think it's just like a protective measure of wanting to keep yourself safe. And but it can also be like actually keeping you from something that you would enjoy. So it's something to be aware of. It's not like you have to do something or don't have to do something. It's not really like that. The reading is just going to help you be aware of what's going on. Keeping a safe distance is what this feels like. That wall I'm seeing is turning into something else. Four of Pentacles more than anything is feeling like a wall to me in this scenario. Kind of like, I don't want to budge, I don't want to change. I want to keep doing what I'm doing and sort of keep this out. But then I'm seeing the Death card, so that can actually be over and done with. It can be changing to something else. It can actually be changing to things coming together. I feel too like with this Four of Pentacles, it's more of a response than anything. I don't feel like this is one's natural way of being. Specifically, what that means is that if somebody feels like if they're not guarded and they go into a situation, they'd be opening themselves up to get hurt, and they're trying to avoid that, they can be not trying to go out of their way to sort of connect, and more than anything, they can even be pushing that away a bit here. But then I'm seeing something else happening, so I don't think that it's going to stay like that. Having the Death card can mean like, okay, I'm done being like that. Or, okay, I'm gonna change in some way. Or, okay, I'm not gonna be in that energy of the Four of Pentacles anymore. Maybe I'm gonna let go a bit here. Maybe I've seen that I've been like trying to really control what's going on here out of a place of insecurity or me feeling uncomfortable or not wanting to get hurt, and I don't want to be doing that anymore. For some reason, something has changed. Ooh, I wasn't expecting to see this. I'm seeing Scorpio. Okay, so it's something that was coming into my mind before I started the reading when I was sitting with the energy. Something that came into mind was about how when we are not yet in a place where we are trusting in our discernment, we can look at anybody and everybody and feel like they are the enemy. And so it can always be feeding into this paranoia of like, is that person gonna backstab me? Is it gonna be this person? Is that person talking about me? And it just feeds into that. And it comes from a place of us not really trusting ourselves, ultimately not trusting our discernment, because not everybody's your enemy, but not trusting yourself to know who is doing what and what their intentions are, and so lumping sort of everybody into that group and then not feeling good because you always feel on edge because of that. Something like this can be going on here. Because this Five of Swords is feeling like being in that way of just like being suspecting of everything and everyone, where I feel like this is, we're seeing Three of Cups here. It's really unnecessary to be doing that. Like, I'm not seeing anything that is coming through and having some type of weird intention. Like, this is actually meant to connect more than anything. But having that Seven of Swords there is, and having it be too connected with this Five of Swords, this feels like something that's possibly being projected here. And then feeling anxious because of it. Feeling like stuff is going on that you may not know about. And like, especially too, because we have Scorpio here. Scorpio is a sign that all of us can tap into the energy of Scorpio. All of us have Scorpio in our birth charts. All of us have a house of Scorpio within our birth charts. If we don't have placements in that sign, you still have transit. So you still are able to feel that energy. So the energy of Scorpio, when it's in its shadow, it can be that feeling of everybody's the enemy, can't trust anything, can't trust anyone, like always feeling like you have to watch your back. And so something of that nature can be going on here. But I feel kind of like with the Four of Pentacles and the Death card, I feel like something can be... The Four of Pentacles feels very much to me like a wall that can be kept between self and others. And The Death card feels like something that can actually be like a tower to it. That's how I'm feeling this energy be. So I feel like it can actually like blow that wall up so it doesn't need to be there anymore. Because what I'm seeing is that this feels very much like the Three of Cups would be something that you would enjoy, but because of this like not trusting, which ultimately comes back to that place with you and your relationship with your discernment. That's going to be connected with your belief systems of like, I believe that I can't discern what is safe and what is not, what's a friend and what's a foe, and so I'm writing everything off as being unsafe because that's the only way that I'm going to protect myself here. But it doesn't feel good because I'm seeing Eight of Swords on the bottom of the deck. So this wouldn't be, one wouldn't be left feeling good about this. And that's definitely going to tell you something. Because there's a difference in the feeling of making moves where you're like, look at me, I'm showing up for myself, I'm advocating for myself, and I'm making moves where I'm honoring myself. There's a very different feeling that you get from doing that versus shutting down, closing everything off, and being like, this is how I keep myself safe. But it comes from this place that's very much motivated by fear within us and can color the narrative. This can also be holding on to stuff too. Just because we have Scorpio here, this is why I'm speaking about Scorpio. Scorpio can also be an energy where it's like, don't let things go. Not letting anything go, and then we hold on to it forever and always, and so we don't allow for change. We don't allow for anybody to change. We don't allow for ourselves to change. We don't allow for situations to change. It's just a like, that was my first impression, and so that's always the impression, like no room for anything else, and it becomes very black and white. And then it can come down to a point where you can feel like, am I just surviving here, or do I want to live in a different way? Also, too, if there is anything that you feel like, well, I can't keep this person around me because I don't trust them, but then you're not actually acting on that, maybe it's going to be time that you do something with that too. If there's really somebody around where you can be getting to a point where you're making up your mind of like, I can trust here or I cannot trust here, and then do something about that. But I do feel like this is based off of something that had happened. I get the feeling of that, like this came from somewhere, but it may not be happening anymore, and it may be very much how the situation is being colored, even though that's not even the scenario anymore. And this can be with the same person or people that are involved, or it can be something where maybe you had one experience and now you're projecting it onto a situation where maybe that's not even what's happening. So ultimately, this is going to help you reconcile with that energy. And this can also, self-forgiveness can be part of this too. Reasons why we can feel like we haven't worked through not being able to trust is because we still haven't worked through trusting ourselves yet and trusting our discernment yet. And we can also still not be forgiving ourselves too. There can be times when we may have ignored our intuition, the feelings that we had, and now we like don't trust ourselves to trust ourselves when things happen. And this can be something that's deep seated here about feeling like you're not connected with yourself in that way, and then it comes up like this. I do feel like there's a social impact that this has, like with other people, you and other people, you and your relationships. It feels like it's connected with this. But what I'm seeing is that this is being worked through. At the center of the spread, we have that Four of Pentacles, which feels like that wall, and it feels like this is the way that I learned how to do things because this is effective for me and this is how I keep myself safe. And also too, you recognize that it's also keeping connection out and away and saying, that's not what I want. I want to feel that closeness. I want to feel that intimacy. I want to feel seen. I just also want it to feel safe. And how that is ensured is by you connecting with yourself. So you can have both of these things that you want. You can have that relationship with yourself. You can have those relationships with other people. So having the Death card is about what we need to allow to evolve in order for this wall to be broken down. The wall is there for a reason, and it feels very much like it's connected with patterns and habits socially. That before we're keeping things out to keep us safe, now it's not going to be necessary anymore because we are safe without that being there. Because there's a new way of doing things. And then that Six of Wands is about this actually working. That this is something that can be effective and that it allows for the necessary change to happen. And it allows for this way of thinking and this way of doing things to be over for something that feels very much like a more effective trade-in for you, and this is going to better the quality of life that you have. And I think that it's also going to help you mentally as well. This is something that can really alleviate things psychologically. And I do think that it has to do with paranoia that's connected with people, relationships, things like that. About what you allow maybe even close to you, around you, that sort of thing. And that before there was this feeling of things just being like unknown threats or like secretly being threatening, and then working through this. So there's a very different way that this is being framed now. The way too that this could have been manifesting for you could have been like a hyper independence. That could have been part of this, where there could have been like, I don't need relationships, or like I don't need connection or whatever. And like, not only is this cutting off connection with another person or other people, but also with yourself too. So it would have potentially been feeling quite lonely. And it's not even that you need other people not to feel lonely. You need yourself. You have to have that relationship with yourself. And then you get to pick and choose what you want to do socially. But this feels more like a coming back to that relationship with yourself, where there had been that thing where it just felt like maybe not trusting this part of yourself, not trusting, maybe something about having to integrate with this part of your shadow. There was something about that, about like this wall was keeping you from having to do that. And you could have said like, it's keeping that stuff out too, but also there were parts of you that were on the other side of that wall that this is breaking down so it can be integrated. And that's what's happening here. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.